Hello, everybody. I just wanted to give you a preview of our in-class workshop, and the title is Secular Stagnation, Austerity and Reforms. Now, the leitmotif is basically that in the wake of the financial crisis, economic growth around the world in many different countries has been lower than we expected. It's been subpar. And we had forecast higher growth rates, and when I say we, I see the economics community, including the IMF. And the question is why, what's going on, and what could have been gone so wrong. Now, there's a lot of debate about this. Some have suggested that the supply side is important, slowing technological progress, low productivity growth, human capital. Some have suggested that no, it's a demand side issue, and some have suggested that its structural reforms have been lacking. So we're going to try and combine this a little bit into a workshop, and the idea is that you're going to be taking the role of a policymaker. You're going to be facing the tough choices. Now, the austerity, that's a fiscal consolidation. It's a belt tightening. It's an increase in savings through increasing public sector savings, cutting spending, raising taxes. It's not a happy choice. It's something that's forced on people, on governments, for a number of reasons, and we'll discuss that. And at the same time, we're also going to be discussing a number of reforms that a government might take, although there's going to be resistance against those reforms. But these reforms will likely boost productivity, but they won't work immediately. And yes, there will likely be opposition to these reforms. You may be taking away privilege from an entrenched interest group. So what we're going to be doing, if I may switch over to the Excel spreadsheet here, we're going to be going, you have been given an Excel spreadsheet, and really there's only three cells that you're going to be worrying about, but we're going to be talking about them in the in-class workshop. First of all, how big is the public sector adjustment? And once again, this is going to depend upon pre-existing conditions, but let's suppose that we have to cut our deficit by 3%, increase public sector savings by 3%, and then the question is it going to be falling on taxes or on public consumption? And we could say, okay, it's going to be 50% on each. So we're going to do that, and then we will be playing with different options. And what will we be looking at? We'll be looking at the long run effect. It's what we call the steady state impact of consumption, on output, on the capital stock, and that steady state impact will be good. By saving more, ultimately, you do increase your steady state output and your steady state consumption, and that's what the solo growth model tells you. But it doesn't happen immediately; it only happens over a long time. At the same time, we talk about things that we can do to increase total factor productivity. We'll be talking about that. So you can see here that we had total factor productivity of 1. How our reforms are going to increase total factor productivity by how much? We really don't know. Let's put a conservative number. Let's say 3%. So it goes up from 1 to 1.03. We're going to be looking at the steady state benefits of these reforms, but we're also going to be looking at the time path. What happens? Okay, so we're thinking of this option A and option B. Option is A is business as usual. You don't do the reforms, but you have to cut, and that's going to dramatically reduce consumption. Option B is that you have productivity enhancing reforms, and you could be very optimistic about their impact. Well, they impact right now, and it's very good, and it'll hit immediately, and that'll be good. But normally, these reforms, they take some time to take effect. So we have a more conservative view, and that's this green line here. So in any event, this is meant to be a very brief introduction to the in-class workshop. As I said, you're going to be getting the spreadsheet. It's blocked except for this cell, the magnitude of the public sector adjustment. This cell, where is it going to be? Spending or taxes. And then down here, this cell, our estimate of total factor productivity increase. And that's what we'll be looking at in the in-class workshop. And I tried to keep this video nice and short, so thank you very much.